Colin Cowherd has continued his anti-CJ Stroud agenda yesterday on The Herd in the midst of a long tangent about how there's lots of good quarterbacks in college. He took a little drive-by on CJ Stroud.
Dak Prescott's gotten really, really expensive. CJ Stroud, do you give him a second year? These guys I'm watching are more athletic than CJ Stroud. That's what I saw from Riley Leonard last night. Deion Sanders' son's insane. What a talent that kid is.
Okay, Shedeur Sanders maybe is more athletic than CJ Stroud. Riley Leonard, I don't know if I'm going to go that far.
Oh, Riley Leonard. He was throwing down 360 dunks in high school.
Okay.
He had a 50-yard touchdown.
You know what? I didn't know that because I didn't watch. So I don't even know who Riley Leonard is, basically. Is that the Duke guy?
Yeah.
He's a white guy from Duke. Sorry, no offense. No offense. I'm not assuming that he's able to do that. Although Daniel Jones.
I was going to say, Daniel Jones is more
surprisingly athletic.
Honestly, if you're a white guy, both basketball and football, that went to Duke, chances are you're pretty athletic.
I would like to apologize to Duke University for assuming the athleticism of whites that have gone there. You know, we should have learned with Christian Laettner.
Yeah.
And yet we didn't.
Greg Paulus.
Syracuse quarterback Greg Paulus. That was the thing for a year. Did not go well. JJ Redick.
Yeah.
Grayson Allen.
One of the Hurleys. Both the Hurleys.
Anyway. So, Cowherd essentially says that teams are going to be paying attention to quarterbacks in this year's draft, even if they have one already. Yeah. No bleeping bleep. Talk about your all-time obvious takes. Guess what scouting staffs do? Every single year, they look at quarterbacks, even if they have one. Bill Polian claimed he had a first-round grade on Tom Brady. I don't believe that, but I bet he scouted Tom Brady, and I bet at the very least he liked some of his qualities. Hey, let's go a little bit further. Do you know why Russell Wilson got so pissed off during his time in Seattle? It's because John Schneider not only scouted Patrick Mahomes and not only scouted Josh Allen, he scouted Baker Mayfield. Good football teams evaluate quarterbacks in every year's draft. It does not mean that they are going to draft another. And I do think that some of our Gen Zers who are entering the NFL need to get the F over themselves and not care that a person from a scouting staff is going to see some of these players at their pro days or scout them at a game. It does not mean that your job is in jeopardy, because your job is always in jeopardy in the NFL. If you don't deliver, you're out. Cowherd acted like he cracked some big code here. Like, yeah, I watched college football games and there were good quarterbacks. Sure, it's a one-game sample size at the beginning of the year where there's a lot of issues as it is. And guess what else? NFL teams are doing the same thing because there are people paid to do that. Exactly. And if these quarterbacks don't work out this year, yeah, they'll replace them. You didn't break the wheel here, bro.
Also, it is funny that it's the two, definitely the two biggest games of opening weekend, or at least two of the three biggest games of opening weekend. And he's like, those quarterbacks that won those games, they looked good. It's like, yeah, thanks. Thanks, Paul Gallant.
What? Really?
Thanks. Yeah, the guy who threw for 500 passing yards against TCU looked good. The guy who beat Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers had a 50-yard touchdown run. Mm-hmm. Looked good.
He looked good.
Yeah, thanks. Next, he's going to tell us that Jordan Travis looked good for FSU. Like, man, that offense is unstoppable.
I think there's an element that comes with the territory of national radio where, because you have to watch so many things and be on top of so many things, that you're going to carry yourself with this level of expertise. As Sean sort of listed, like, oh, yeah, he watched all the games this week. Cool, if he did his homework.
He watched, like, 2 games. They were on ABC and Fox.
Probably. The reality is, though, that every team does this every single season, regardless of if CJ Stroud is a good or bad quarterback this year. The Texans scouting staff would be fools to not look at every single quarterback. And we're not just talking first round, we're talking later round picks, too, because you always should be looking for the guy. Always. Even if you have the guy already and it's a quarterback-built game, of course other teams are going to be looking at quarterbacks, especially if there's a potential for the guy to not work out so well.
Yeah, I mean, even without looking or without he might not work out aspect of it. Like, think about the New England Patriots back in the day, and it felt like every 2 or 3 years they just drafted a guy in the third, fourth round to sit behind Tom Brady. One of them, Kevin O'Connell's a coach now, but they would draft like the Brian Hoyers, eventually Jimmy Garoppolo in the second round. Like they're always just trying out young guys behind Matt Castle, I think was the 7th round pick. Like that, this is just what teams do. That's just what teams do. Really, the only thing is that Colin Cowherd just mentioned CJ Stroud for basically no reason when he could have mentioned Kirk Cousins, who
he did mention Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
He listed a bunch of quarterbacks, and CJ Stroud was one of the ones that he mentioned.
Okay, it's like
but it was all the quarterbacks that he's like not sold on because these college quarterbacks might be better. But here's the thing, as I always say, the young quarterback is probably not the guy. You take a flyer anyway, but he's probably not the guy. And I'll say that about CJ Stroud too. I'm excited about Stroud this year, but he's probably not the guy. There's only been one the guy. I guess there's a second the guy going from Tom Brady to Patrick Mahomes. Like, that's the guy that is so awesome. You never look at anyone else is so effing rare. Peyton Manning was the guy probably for Indianapolis. But these guys are very rare, and you should always keep your options open. This is why I'm a commitment phobe and I'm never getting married, probably.